Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video. This is Champion 2D Rob back again. This time I am doing a video response to Carl Woodlin37. He basically asked us what music we like to listen to, and this is definitely a topic that I've wanted to discuss on my channel for a while now, but I've always sort of held off because I didn't think people watching would really care. Now I know there's a few people that do watch my channel that are interested, but of course, you know, and I know a lot of people are going to say, you know, you should just do whatever you want to do regardless. But I don't want to alienate any of my audiences, because I do have, when it comes to music, I am very musically inclined. I do listen to a lot of music. It's actually something that I enjoy a lot. Primarily, I like to listen to a lot of hip-hop music. That's primarily the genre that I've enjoyed since 1992, when I officially sort of became a fan. But I wasn't too sure as well how to sort of go about sort of talking about some of the people that I like to listen to, sort of more current stuff and whatnot. But as well as hip-hop, I do actually enjoy a lot of other genres. I'm not as knowledgeable as in other genres as I am with hip-hop music. I mean, for me, hip-hop isn't so much just about the music, but I very much enjoy hip-hop culture. I sort of grew up in that 90s era of hip-hop music, but it's not just the music that I enjoy. While I've never really actively participated in any of the genres that fall within the hip-hop culture, I have sort of been around it and just sort of soaked it all up and enjoyed it. And I know that hip-hop music in some media circles has quite a negative sort of stereotype, but for me, hip-hop has actually helped me a lot through my life. There's a lot of positive messages in hip-hop, and I always try to educate people when it comes to certain artists and stuff. People want to find out a bit more about hip-hop, because it really does bother me when people tend to have a very skewed view on the genre of music, because hip-hop is actually very positive. You know, sometimes a lot of songs can be taken out of context. You sometimes need to listen to whole albums to really get what the artist is trying to convey. Unfortunately, the media tends to push a lot of the very materialistic songs to be put out on the radio and on TV. But if you actually go and listen to the albums, you'll find it's a lot more well-rounded. Now, in terms of, it's important to note that a lot of the hip-hop that gets played in the mainstream today, I am not a fan of. I do not like pretty much all the stuff that gets played on the radio today. When I say I'm a fan of hip hop, I'm a fan of true hip hop. I'm very, like I say, I'm very much into the culture. I like the graffiti art, the turntables, the beatboxing, the b-boying, that whole aspect of hip hop. So in terms of more sort of current hip hop, I tend to gravitate more towards independent hip hop, a lot of underground hip hop, because a lot of those tend to stick to the spirit of what older hip hop was. And yeah, so what I thought I would do is I'm going to list you just a few artists that I like to listen to. Some you may have heard of, some you might not have heard of. But what I thought I would do as well is I might use this video as a way to see if I can gauge any interest in this subject. I'd be very curious to see what you guys say in the comment section below, because I might make some videos in the future delving into a bit more detail about some of these newer artists, in case maybe you want to listen to some hip-hop, but you know, you're not quite sure where to go. I'll be happy to help you guys. But yeah, so kicking it off, I think some of you might be well aware that I am a big fan of the Wu-Tang Clan. You might have seen me wearing quite a few Wu-Tang t-shirts in quite a few videos. And yes, I am a massive fan of the Wu-Tang. Admittedly, they do kind of annoy me now. Not so much individual members, but as a collective, they just can't seem to get it together to release another decent group album. They did release an album not too long ago, actually, called The Better Tomorrow. I heard it, I didn't like it, so I didn't buy it. It's really quite frustrating because I feel that as a collective, they've still got it in terms of lyrics, but just the direction that the head of the clan, RZA, wants to really go in doesn't seem to mesh with what some of the other group members seem to want to go in, and it just doesn't work for me, which is a shame. So, you know, if you want to get into, you know, the Wu-Tang as a group, probably the two albums that are worth investigating are Enter the 36 Chambers, which was their debut album, and Wu-Tang Forever, which was their second group album that came out in '97. Some people don't like Wu-Tang Forever. I say they're insane. That album is amazing. You know, those two albums are fantastic. Anything else besides those two albums, you can skip. I mean, they have their moments, don't get me wrong, but I feel that if you want the best of Wu-Tang, it's really about 36 Chambers, Enter the Wu-Tang, and Wu-Tang Forever. Those are the best sort of group albums. And if we go into the individual members, without dragging out this video too long, because I do want to get some other artists, but my favourite artist in the Wu-Tang is, well, actually it's kind of changed, but my favourite solo album from the Wu-Tang Clan is actually GZA, Liquid Swords album. That album to me is actually my favourite album of all time. I absolutely love Liquid Swords. In fact, I've actually seen GZA perform that album live. Yeah, it's just basically my favourite album of all time. I find it to be a perfect hip hop album. The album originally came out in '95, and I've been playing that album continuously for years, and it never gets old. I've never gotten bored of that album. Just such an enjoyable album to listen to. So definitely check that album out, guys. That's the artist is called GZA. That's spelled GZA, and the album's called Liquid Swords. Liquid Swords. Check it out. It's a fantastic album. But moving on from the Wu-Tang, I do listen to a lot of other artists. I'll just run by a few that people would have heard of. Tupac, love Tupac's music. Biggie Smalls, great artist. A shame they're not around anymore. I also like to listen to Cypress Hill, Big L, again, rest in peace. Gravediggers, which was basically sort of an offshoot of Wu-Tang as well, because RZA was also a member of the Gravediggers. I listen to a lot of Wu-Tang affiliates, such as Killer Army, Sons of Man. I also listen to Big Pun. As a Latino myself, I like listening to a lot of Latin. I don't like to call them Latin artists because they don't really. They're just hip hop artists, but they just happen to be of the same ethnic background as myself. So I do kind of relate to them a bit more with people like Big Pun. I also highly recommend Psycho Realm. Definitely check out Psycho Realm. That's a fantastic group from the West Coast. Unfortunately, one of the members has had to stop. Right, he got shot in the neck, and he basically had to give up rapping. He's sort of confined to a wheelchair. But his brother, Sick Jackin, still makes music today. They're sort of part of the whole Soul Assassins Cypress Hill camp. They still bring out a lot of music today. Still fantastic. But definitely check out Psycho Realm. I also love listening to the Beatnuts, another Latin duo that I really do like. There's so many. I mean, I could go Digging in the Crates crew. So many classics. The Boot Camp Clique, Mobb Deep. So many artists that I really did enjoy that sort of came up during the 90s. In terms of sort of post-2000, one group that I do listen to quite a lot is Jedi Mind Tricks. They're quite well, the sort of the lead artist in that is called Vinny Paz. It's actually a three-man group. It's made up of two MCs and one DJ. The DJ is known as Stoop, the Enemy of Mankind. And then you've got Vizzy Paz, who is like the main MC of the group. And you've got the sort of sometimes member of the group called Jassala. And Vinny Paz is pretty much the main voice of the group. And they've been around a long time now. I mean, they were around in the 90s, but they started sort of putting out, their album sort of started coming out sort of like in the year 2000 onwards. And I find their music to be very sort of, I mean, it's not it's not really soft. It's quite hardcore rap, but it's like battle raps. So it comes across, it's quite like sort of bragging, but you have to imagine it within the context, because when they refer to it as battle rap, it's like you have to imagine them being on stage and they have an opponent on stage with them and they're basically trying to verbally destroy them. That's basically how they portray themselves in the music. It's like they're sort of going at an invisible person. So that's what they dub as sort of battle rapping. They do sort of add the odd sort of conspiracy theories and stuff like that as well in the music. But what's always been very consistent with them as well is just the production. The production is fantastic. They use a lot of epic orchestral samples, scratching, just fantastic. There's no R&B hooks in their music. It's all hardcore beats, and that music for me is great for when I'm in the gym, or you know, anything that's there to hype me up. That's generally what I tend to listen to. That or Wu-Tang, but yeah, so I like that group a lot. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in terms of if you want to hear more about hip hop. There's a lot of sort of more current artists that I do listen to as well. I may go in depth a bit more in some other videos if you want. I'll even, you know, show you some CDs and you know, sort of more current stuff as well. Oh, actually, before I forget, another MC that I really do like is MF Doom. Definitely check out his stuff, guys. Fantastic. I mean, I could make a whole video on this guy. He's very eclectic. Great MC, great wordplay. You know, is another thing that I look for. It's not just about what they're saying, but how they say it, how they come across, their use of words, and I think people like MF Doom have a great way with words, and that always attracts me when I'm listening to an artist, to see how they're able to play with their words in a creative manner, you know. So yeah, so moving away from hip hop, because I don't want to, you know, I do listen to other music, other genres of music that I do listen to. I actually do listen to quite a bit of roots reggae, a lot of that classic reggae from the sort of 70s and 80s. When I was a kid growing up, I lived in an area with a lot of Jamaicans, and during these summer times, everyone would have their windows open, and you'd hear a lot of that classic reggae music coming out of people's homes. And one of the things I used to enjoy when I was a little kid was just opening my window on that, not sort of like on a warm sunny day, and just taking that music in. I used to really just vibe to it. Love the music a lot. So yeah, a lot of that roots reggae stuff. I listen to some rock as well. I don't really know much about the genres. I just, you know, don't thrash, industrial, all that. I don't know any of that. I don't know the difference. But I listen to stuff like Rage Against the Machine. I like Korn. You know, various artists here and there. But I don't know much about the genre itself. I just listen to some artists. You know, I listen to a bit of Smashing Pumpkins, REM. You know, it's just different stuff here and there. But you know, I'm not, you know, a massive fan in that regards. I mean, with hip hop, you know, I could talk about hip hop for days, but in terms of these other genres, I just sort of listen to it in a more casual sense. Other genres I like to listen to, I like to, being that I'm Hispanic in origin, I grew up with a lot of Latin music, so I listen to a lot of salsa music, cumbia, bachata, merengue music, a lot of that stuff that I grew up with and I listen to now. Just makes me feel happy. I play a lot in my MP3 player just to sort of boost up my morale a little bit. It just, when you listen to that music, you will definitely turn that frown upside down. It's one of those the music that will just make you happy. It's a very good vibes sort of music. So I listen to a lot of that as well. R&B, I'll be honest with you, sort of from 2000 onwards, for me, R&B really took a nosedive. I really have not liked a lot of R&B that has come out sort of from the year 2000 onwards, last 15 years basically. But the 90s R&B was fantastic. I like Tony Braxton, Aaliyah, a lot of those artists that I really did enjoy. Yeah, what else is there? Because I do listen to other stuff. Yeah, I mean, and my friends think that I do have sort of more of a one-track sort of mind when it comes to music, but it's actually not the case. I just don't talk about other genres with my friends as much because it's not something that I've done much research in. Like I say, I'm not that knowledgeable when it comes to certain other genres, but I am open to them. You know, if we're going to talk, as also, actually, now that I've just remembered, you know, of course, artists like Michael Jackson, love Michael Jackson's music. Queen, I love Queen's music. Really did. I grew up with listening to Queen, so you know I love a lot of their music as well. There's so many. I mean, like a lot of the classic older stuff, you know, Motown and stuff like that. I love, you know, Barry White, Marvin Gaye. I love them. Love that music. Earth, Wind and Fire. I love that stuff. But like I say, I'm not as knowledgeable on those. Whereas for me, hip hop is really what I do enjoy the most. Actually, just came to me now. Before I got into hip hop, back in '92, sort of like 1990, 91, I used to be very big into dance music. Like I used to love the Prodigy. I mean, I still love the Prodigy. There's nothing's changed there. I love the Prodigy music. Fantastic. Stuff like Outer Space, Poison. Love those joints. You know, I do love dance music here and there. You know, back in the late 90s, I used to listen to garage as well. A lot of my friends were into speed garage. I used to listen to that when I was a kid. Don't listen to it as much now, but when I was a kid, I liked it. I listen to a lot of UK hip hop as well. A lot of good UK artists. But yeah, and I don't want to drag out this video too long, but I just wanted to avoid saying that I like a bit of everything. As Carl was saying, I do like a bit of everything, but my genre of choice is hip hop music, but the good kind. I don't like Lil Wayne. I hate Ja Rule. There's a lot of artists that I just don't like that are out there. Kanye, you know, I don't like him now, but I will admit that his early stuff was good. And I will actually give him props. As a producer, Kanye is actually a very good producer. You know, I don't want to be those people like, I know he's a weirdo. I know he makes his music today, you know, it may not be everyone's taste. But, you know, there was a time where he was actually a very good producer. And he does understand music. No matter what you think of him. But, you know, it has to be said. And there are merits to some of these artists, but some of these sort of flashy artists that come out today, I don't even pay attention to them, to be honest. They just don't do it for me. I don't like. I'm fine with tracks that are about money and stuff. I don't mind that necessarily, but if that's all you've really got to say and you're not really saying it in any clever or interesting way, then that's when I tune out, really. Because I listen to some artists that do flash the cash, but they're gifted lyricists. I mean, they can rhyme, they can spit. You can say, okay, you may not like their subject matter, but you can agree that they can rap. Whereas some of these guys, I question their ability even to do a basic rap. Some of them, I listen to their lyrics and I just think to myself, what are they doing? And some of it, I would even argue, is not even hip hop. Some people think because it's a black artist. You know, that he's doing hip hop. It's not. Some things don't correspond to what hip hop is. You know, they need to rap, and some of them don't even rap. They're just singing chorus over and over again. That to me is not a rap song. But anyway, I go on about this. But anyway, yeah. So that is my response to Woodlin37, Carl. Great idea. Phat beats. Great idea. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you guys. Views are. I'd especially like to know if you guys would like to hear more on this subject, because I'm not too sure if there's enough interest on my channel that people maybe want to find out a little bit more about some of the newer independent hip hop artists that I listen to. Maybe talk a little bit more about MF Doom. He's a great artist, guys. High recommendation. In fact, if you wanted to know two main recommendations, I would say MF Doom and the Psycho Realm. Check out both of those. Awesome music. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will be back very soon. Bye bye.